Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Breguet Traditional 7057 BR. You can see this rose gold tribute to the lifetime and the work of Abraham Louis Breguet on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch, with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally, complete pricing details for this Breguet Traditional reference 7057 BR. Now, launched in 2005, the original reference 7027 La Tradition was a gorgeous modernization of the Breguet brand image, directly tying the wristwatches, for the first time ever, one might say, to the lifetime and the legacy of Abraham Louis Breguet himself. This was an entirely new look for the brand and an entirely new identity. It's proper to speak of Breguet before and after that landmark piece, but at 38mm it was fairly compact and not for everyone. Although this 7057 is listed as a 40, my calipers measure it as a true 41 round watch, so it's bigger but not oversized. On my 16cm oval profiled wrist it wears easily, and it's not thick. The timepiece is 11.6mm thick with a generously sloped and domed bezel, so if you prefer to dress it up in formal attire, it will not cause your sleeve to become hung up. It is no impediment in that respect. It's designed for upscale attire. Now, the watch is not terribly broad across the wrist. At 49.6mm, as long as you keep a watch solidly under 50, it remains wearable on the broadest range of wrists. So 49.6 across the wrist, I would say the lower limit for wearing this watch is 13.5 to 14 centimeters in circumference. The timepiece is beautifully elegant, comfortable, and with a low-profile, high-grade alligator leather strap, monotone stitch, folded edges, small scale, very comfortable thanks to the calfskin underlay, and very adjustable and classically beautiful thanks to the simple pin buckle in matching rose gold. The case is surprisingly complex. Despite its first glance simplicity, the lugs are straight but they're soldered on, which is to say welded. All excess material from the weld has to be manually removed to create this clean double finish, and the coining is cold rolled before being hand finished to clean it up and create this seamless aesthetic between caseband, lug, bezel, and caseback. Now, there's a slight outward step to the caseback and the bezel, the overhang in both instances contrasting nicely, vertically sweeping against the, or I should say horizontally sweeping against the vertical of the caseband, and providing a nice definition to the watch and profile. I should also mention that the lugs are fixed by screws, a feature generally seen on upscale sports watches. It's not necessary on a timepiece that isn't terribly heavy, but it is nice to see on a timepiece designed for luxury. Screws are the more secure and more expensive way of affixing a strap. Now, the dial is essentially all movement. It's hard to distinguish between the watch and the caliber 507 DR1 manual winding movement. So everything you see here lays bare all the secrets of the caliber. You have the barrel at center, you have the second wheel, the third wheel, the fourth wheel, the escape wheel, literally in order, leading up to the anchor indexing the balance. And the balance, although you can't see at first glance, is a hyper-modern aerodynamic recessed bolt balance. You can see those bolts, they're variable inertia and recessed to reduce aerodynamic drag. Now, the free-sprung architecture makes it more shock-resistant and better able to take and hold a precise regulation. The fact that it features hacking seconds means that this vintage-style timepiece can, nevertheless, be precisely synchronized against a reference time, even though, as you'll note, it does not feature a seconds hand. Now, there's a power reserve scale at what would conventionally be 10 or 11 o'clock on the dial, and you'll note that with a 50-hour power reserve, manual winding, which I must say is crisp and satisfying, rapidly advances the indicator. Now, the dial is rose lathe guilloche all the way. You would be amazed how, even above the $10,000 price range, even above the $20,000 price point, many haute de gamme watches are brought to market with stamped guilloche dials. This is the real thing, executed by a guillocheur with a rose lathe. It's old-fashioned, it's expensive, and in gold. It's exquisite, beautifully blackened with stylized Breguet hands and Roman numerals with a clou de Paris center. This is as good as it gets, and the size of a dime, it rewards repeat viewing with a loupe like the rest of the dial. But make no mistake, it's easy to glimpse at a glance and understand because of the high contrast between the silver and the black base. On the case back, surprisingly spare, you can see the mechanism regulating the power reserve scale, and then you can see just how much of the main plate is in fact indistinguishable from the dial. In terms of finish, at first glance you see a frosted surface very much like that of a vintage pocket watch, but upon closer examination you'll note that all of the jewel sinks are mirror polished, and though blackened, the edge of each cock and bridge is beautifully rounded with a hand-laid anglage. It is not absent in this timepiece, it's just subtle. All of the screw heads are black polished and their slots chamfered with their circumference filed down and polished. Although the watch is a pocket watch tribute in wristwatch format, make no mistake, all of the modern conventions of high horology wristwatch finish are present and correct. This is a watch that is part of a family that defines its manufacturer. The Tradition, the Type 20 families, and the Marines. That is the heart and soul of Breguet today, and if you had to take just one to show an alien from space what Breguet is all about, you can do no better. And even if you're not from Zeta Reticula, make no mistake, this is the one to own. 7057 on our website.